Food prices have climbed over 30% in the last 3 years. And most home growers are still spending $40, $60, $80 a season on fertilizer bags every single year, without realizing there is a permanent solution sitting in their kitchen cabinet right now. Today, I'm covering 10 specific substances that trigger nonstop plant growth all season long. No expensive growth formula required, no special equipment required. And number 7 on this list is the one nobody expects. And it will completely change what you think tap water is doing to your plants. Stay with me, because the bonus tip at the end of this video alone is worth watching every single minute. Real quick before we get into this, if you've ever watched your garden stall out mid-season, leaves yellowing, fruit dropping early, our plants that just stopped producing and you had no idea why, this channel was built specifically for you. Not for gardeners with perfect soil and endless budgets, for real people growing in real conditions who want real results. Hit that subscribe button right now. Every week, this channel gives you exactly what you need to grow more food with less money and less guesswork. Subscribe, and let's get into it. Substance 10. Silica from diatomaceous earth. Most people hear diatomaceous earth and immediately picture pest control, sprinkled on soil to kill bugs. That's it. Here's what it actually does at the cellular level. Plants that receive consistent low-dose silica applications develop structurally reinforced cell walls, stems that hold upright under heavy fruit load, and a waxy leaf cuticle that sheds fungal spores before they can penetrate. In commercial rice agriculture, silica supplementation has shown yield increases of up to 30% by reducing susceptibility to blast disease and heat stress. That same mechanism works in your pepper beds, your squash rows, your flower borders. 1 teaspoon of food-grade diatomaceous earth dissolved per liter of water, applied to the soil weekly. That is the entire protocol. If you prefer a fully organic brew, simmer the plant Equisetum arvens, common horsetail entirely for 20 minutes. Strain it, dilute 1 part tea to 5 parts water, and apply the same way. Horsetail is one of the most silica-dense plants on the planet. Most people walk past it every day without knowing what they're passing. Have you ever lost plants to stem rot or fungal wilt? Drop a yes in the comments, because this one substance addresses both at the root cause. Substance 9. Potassium silicate solution. Before you think you already know this one because we just covered silica, potassium silicate is a different compound with a second mechanism that changes everything. Here's where it flips the situation entirely. Many gardeners apply perfectly adequate phosphorus levels and still watch their plants underperform. The reason is almost always soil pH locking that phosphorus in an unavailable form. Potassium silicate, 1 teaspoon per gallon of water applied weekly, shifts the chemistry in a way that unlocks phosphorus that was already in your soil. Sitting there, inaccessible, waiting. The potassium primes flower and fruit development simultaneously, the silicate reinforces cell structure, and the pH shift delivers nutrients you've already paid for. This is used extensively in commercial greenhouse tomato and cucumber production for exactly this reason. Substance 8. Wood ash. If you burn untreated wood and throw away the ash, read this carefully. Wood ash runs approximately 25 to 35% calcium carbonate and 5 to 10% potassium. That means every handful is simultaneously liming your soil and delivering the 2 minerals most responsible for cell wall strength and sugar translocation. Potassium moves sugars from leaves to fruit, which means sweeter produce, denser roots, and storage crops that actually keep. 1 teaspoon worked lightly into the soil at the base of each plant weekly. Free, 0 cost. Brassicas, root crops like parsnips and scorzonera, and fruiting trees respond dramatically to consistent wood ash applications. The critical rule: skip it for acid-loving plants. Blueberries, azaleas, rhododendrons, wood ash will shut them down fast. 7 substances left on this list, and the next 2 are the ones most growers have genuinely never heard of. One of them is number 7, the tap water finding that will change how you water permanently. Make sure you are subscribed. And if you know someone who gardens and keeps wondering why their plants plateau so every summer, share this video with them right now. You might genuinely save them an entire season of frustration. 7 left. Let's finish this. Substance 7. Raw apple cider vinegar with the mother. This is the one I mentioned at the very beginning, and I already know exactly what you're thinking right now. Apple cider vinegar for plants, that can't be serious. Here's what's actually happening every time you water. Most municipal tap water runs between pH 7 and pH 8. Well, that alkaline range suppresses root hair development and directly reduces uptake of iron, manganese, and zinc, the micronutrients that drive enzyme function inside plant cells. You can have a perfectly fertilized garden and unknowingly undermine it every single watering. 1 teaspoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, with the mother culture visible in the bottle, per gallon of irrigation. Water brings pH down to approximately 6.2 to 6.5. That is the root hair activation zone for most vegetable crops. Research from Southeast Asian vegetable production systems has documented significantly increased root biomass in ACV-treated crops versus untreated controls, a finding repeated across multiple studies. The acetic acid also carries antimicrobial properties that reduce soil pathogen pressure at the root zone. 1 teaspoon per gallon. Weekly. That's it. Substance 6. Fermented plant juice from comfrey. Nobody realizes how completely achievable this one is with a plant most people consider a weed. Comfrey, Symphytum officinale, sends its root system nearly 2 meters into the subsoil, mining minerals that shallow-rooted vegetables can never reach. The leaves concentrate nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and boron at levels that exceed commercial fertilizer blends in lab analysis. When fresh comfrey leaves are packed with brown sugar or molasses at a ratio of 3 parts plant material to 1 part sugar, sealed and left for 7 days, the resulting liquid is an enzyme-rich, living concentrate. This is Korean natural farming, a methodology now used by professional organic market growers globally. Diluted at 1 teaspoon per liter of water applied weekly, documented results include accelerated vegetative growth and measurably improved root proliferation in both annuals and perennials. And comfrey, once established, produces harvestable leaf biomass 4 to 6 times per season. 1 plant, years of free liquid fertilizer. Substance 5. Seaweed extract, specifically Ascophyllum nodosum. Most people have never heard of Ascophyllum nodosum, and the seaweed extracts they do use are often the wrong species entirely. This cold water brown kelp from the North Atlantic is the most research-supported species for plant growth stimulation in agricultural science. The active compounds, cytokinins, betaines, mannitol, and laminorin, aren't just nutrients. They're plant growth regulators. Cytokinins directly stimulate cell division. Laminorin triggers systemic acquired resistance, meaning the plant activates its own immune defense system before any pathogen arrives. Commercial applications at concentrations as low as 0.1% show measurable increases in germination rate, root biomass, and cold tolerance across multiple controlled trials. 1 teaspoon of concentrated Ascophyllum extract per gallon weekly. Flowers, vegetables, orchard trees, and field crops all respond. Check the label. If it doesn't specify the species, you don't know what you're buying. 5 down, 5 to go. And the next one, number 4, is one most gardeners use completely wrong. They apply it blindly and get nothing, or they make the problem worse. Stay with me, because knowing how not to use it is the most valuable thing I can tell you. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Share this with your garden group, and let's keep going. Substance 4. Epsom salt. But not the way you've been told before you think you already know this one. Most people who use Epsom salt are either wasting it or actively damaging their calcium uptake. That assumption is costing them their best production. Here's the detail that separates success from failure. Epsom salt delivers magnesium sulfate. Magnesium is genuinely critical and it sits at the center of every chlorophyll molecule. But applied blindly to magnesium-sufficient soil, it accomplishes nothing. Worse, excess magnesium competes directly with calcium for the same uptake channels. You flood one, you block the other. The correct application is targeted. When you see intervenal chlorosis, yellow tissue between green veins on older leaves specifically, that is the visual signature of magnesium deficiency. That is when Epsom salt earns its place. 1 teaspoon per gallon of water as a foliar spray, not a soil drench. A foliar spray because leaf absorption bypasses soil chemistry entirely. Applied biweekly during flowering on heavy fruiting crops like tomatoes, peppers, and roses, horticultural research supports genuine improvement in fruit set and flower color intensity under those specific conditions. Use it surgically, not as a default. Substance 3. Aloe vera inner gel. Not the commercial green juice. The clear inner gel from a fresh-cut aloe leaf. This distinction matters completely, as commercial aloe products contain stabilizers and preservatives that neutralize the two compounds responsible for the actual plant growth effect. Asamanin, a complex polysaccharide that activates soil microbial communities. And salicylic acid, which is the same compound that triggers a plant's systemic resistance to fungal and viral pathogens. Research published in Scientia Horticulturici confirmed that aloe vera gel, used as both a seed treatment and a weekly soil drench, increased germination rates and early growth metrics across multiple vegetable crops. 1 teaspoon of freshly extracted clear inner gel per liter of water. Most powerful during transplanting and early establishment, when root systems are most exposed to soil pathogen pressure and stress. If you have an aloe plant at home, you have this input for free. Yeah, if you don't, that single mature aloe plant costs $3 to $5 and produces fresh gel indefinitely. 3 substances left. Number 2 is the one professional orchardists use 6 to 10 times every season. And almost no home gardeners have ever heard of it. And number 1 is the compound that goes inside the plant cells directly, not around them, inside them. Subscribe right now if you haven't. Tell someone who grows. 2 left. Let's finish this strong. Substance 2. Calcium chloride foliar spray. This is the one used in virtually every commercial apple and pear orchard in the world, almost never discussed in home gardening content. Here's why it matters for every grower. Blossom end rot, tip burn, fruit cracking. Most gardeners treat these as 3 separate problems with 3 separate causes. They are the same problem. Calcium not reaching rapidly developing tissue fast enough. Calcium in granular soil amendments move slowly. It depends on soil moisture, root pressure, and vascular transport. And developing fruit has the highest calcium demand at exactly the moment when those delivery systems are most stressed. The fruit grows faster than the calcium can arrive. The cell walls collapse from the inside. calcium chloride applied as a foliar spray at 1 teaspoon per gallon of water is absorbed directly through leaf stomata. It bypasses the soil entirely. It reaches meristematic tissue and developing fruit in hours, not days. Commercial orchardists apply this 6 to 10 times per season as standard practice to prevent post-harvest cellular breakdown. A weekly foliar spray during fruit set, tomatoes, peppers, melon, squash, whitestone, fruits, eliminates blossom and rot as reliably as any commercial product, often more reliably. Substance 1. Fulvic acid. This is the compound I saved for number 1, not because it's the most familiar, because it operates differently from everything else on this list. Every other substance works on the soil or on the plant surface. Fulvic acid works inside the plant cells. Fulvic acid molecules are small enough to pass directly through root cell membranes and leaf stomata. Once inside the plant's vascular system, they act as internal chelating agents, binding to trace minerals like iron, zinc, and manganese, and making them immediately bioavailable to the cells that need them most. Now, you can think of it as a mineral escort service that operates entirely within the plant's own tissue. The practical results: accelerated protein synthesis, faster canopy development, and measurably stronger recovery from heat stress, drought, and transplant shock. This is documented in multiple soil science reviews and is now a standard input in regenerative agriculture systems. Unlike humic acid, which most people confuse it with, fulvic acid does not primarily improve soil structure. It improves what happens inside the plant after the nutrients have been absorbed. That distinction changes how you use it and why it outperforms most conventional inputs at low doses. 1 teaspoon of concentrated liquid fulvic acid, available in concentrated form derived from leonardite shale, per gallon of water applied weekly. Visible results in 2 to 3 weeks. The math on cost per application is usually under 10 cents per plant per week. I promised you this at the very beginning. Here it is. This applies to every single substance on this entire list without exception. The universal problem: most growers apply these inputs and get inconsistent results. Not because the inputs don't work, because their water quality neutralizes them before they reach the root zone. Here's what happens invisibly. Chlorinated tap water, which is most municipal water, kills beneficial soil microbes on contact. The comfrey FPJ, the aloe vera ikmanan, the fulvic acid, all of them work by activating soil biology. Chlorinated water suppresses that biology simultaneously. The fix is free and takes 24 hours. Fill your watering can or bucket the night before. Leave it uncovered. Chlorine is a dissolved gas. This off-gases completely within 12 to 24 hours at room temperature. The water that reaches your root zone the following morning is dechlorinated, and every biological input you apply lands in living soil instead of sterilized soil. 3 results from this single habit: better performance from every biological input on this list, measurably more active soil microbial communities, and stronger natural disease suppression that builds over the season rather than declining. Free, zero cost, maximum impact. A lot of people are going to watch this video and not try a single thing on it. I don't have a garden big enough. My setup isn't right for this. Those doubts are real. I want you to hear this as clearly as possible. You don't need a large garden. You don't need perfect soil. You don't need prior experience with any of these inputs. You need a teaspoon, a watering can, and one of the 10 substances on this list. That is the entire barrier to entry. Every year you wait is another year of full fertilizer prices and half-capacity harvests. The growers who start this week will have the data by midsummer. The ones who wait until conditions are right will be back here next year watching the same video. Start with 2. Pick the two that are already in your home. Apply them this week. Observe the difference over 21 days. Then add the third. That is the entire system. If this video gave you something real today, subscribe right now. Not at the end. Not later. Because later has a way of becoming never. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Every single week, this channel gives you exactly what you need to grow more, spend less, and stop guessing at why your plants aren't performing. Drop a comment right now and tell me, where in the world are you watching from? And which one of these 10 are you trying first? Are you starting with something you already have at home or going straight for the one that surprised you most? I read every single comment, every one. Let's bring this together one final time. Silica from diatomaceous earth reinforces cell walls and sheds fungal spores before they penetrate. Potassium silicate unlocks phosphorus that's already in your soil and primes fruit development simultaneously. Wood ash, free mineral input from your fireplace, delivering calcium and potassium in one application. Apple cider vinegar ising weep honey corrects tap water pH into the root hair activation zone. Your plants have been denied every time you water. So it's comfrey fermented plant juice, subsoil minerals extracted by a 2-meter root system, concentrated into a weekly liquid feed. Ascophyllum nodosum seaweed extract activates the plant's own immune system before disease pressure arrives. Aloe vera inner gel delivers icamanin and salicylic acid that wake up soil biology and prime disease resistance from the ground up. Epsom salt, used surgically at the first sign of intervenal chlorosis, not blindly. Calcium chloride, foliar spray, bypasses the soil and delivers calcium directly to the cells where blossom end rot begins. Fulvic acid, the only input on this list that enters plant cells directly and escorts minerals to where they are needed most. 10 substances, 1 teaspoon each. Every one of them is backed by agricultural science. Yes, most of them are already in your home or available for under $10. Your garden is not too small. It's just not fed correctly yet. I will see you in the next one.